I want to talk about the 2010 movie Rubber. It's about a killer tire. You've probably heard about it. It's the killer tire movie, and I actually think it's good. Unironically, I really do think it's a good movie. I don't think it's good in the way like The Room is good, where you watch it and you're like, this movie's so bad, or like Troll 2 or Sharknado. I actually think that Rubber is a good movie. So let me kind of explain that. Horror movies. Horror movies are a paradox of absurdity. The paradox is this: they give us these extreme situations that are inherently fantastical, yet they have to at the same time be grounded. That's the paradox and the absurd. I'll give you an example. Okay, Halloween. Halloween, we have Michael Myers, who wakes up one day and decides to kill his whole family. There's no explanation why other than he's evil, but there is an explanation. And if you don't buy that explanation, you have Dr. Loomis constantly reminding you how evil Michael Myers is. Even though you see him killing people left and right, and he's like obviously crazy. He walks around with a William Shatner mask and a knife, just killing people. He's crazy. But that's the explanation. He's crazy, but we're given an explanation. And on top of that, the absurdity lies in the fact that the only person hunting this guy down seems to be Dr. Loomis, at least in the early movies. I know later on the town rose up against him, but let's not think about that. Freddy Krueger, why is he? He's the son of maniacs. He's a sadomasochist. Sado. Yeah, he's a sadist and a masochist because he likes to hurt people. And then we find out in his youth that he took pleasure in hurting himself. So he's a sadomasochist. We just accept it. And dream demons. That's how. Why sadomasochists? How dream demons? We're given an explanation. Are dream demons a thing? We don't know. Doesn't matter. We have dream demons. All right. Jason Voorhees. He's a zombie. He's a revenge zombie. I think he's a zombie. I don't. Friday the 13th is a rip off of Halloween. It doesn't matter. They both wear a mask and they kill people. The point is that they have explanations. They have reasons. And we have to buy into it. And everything about these movies are absurd. People's reactions to these events taking place are absurd, but you have to accept it. We just accept it. I mean, think about it. Like Friday the 13th no, not Friday the 13th. A Nightmare on Elm Street. Yeah. On Nightmare on Elm Street, there's this thing, one of the movies, where the entire town of Westbrook, I think it's Westbrook, all the children have been murdered. Yeah, all the children have been murdered in Westbrook. And there's a board where they have all the children at the school. First of all, how weird is that? Like all these children are being murdered, and the high school has a board of all the children, and the board just keeps getting bigger and bigger. Like you walk past that and you just like, oh, I'm next. I know I'm next. Like the number. At some point, you realize you're next, and at some point, they just stop really putting plaques and stuff, and they just start scribbling notes. I think if that was really happening in a town, like that would be a thing. Like that would be maybe it wouldn't be though. We do got a lot of shootings, and no one seems to care. I'm not getting political, but let's just pretend it's absurd, that's an absurd thing. And then the town's reaction to it is they just pretend that they have kids. The whole town has this collective trauma, and that's the reaction to it. That's the explanation, the reasoning, we buy into it. But there's always a reason. The additional paradox is horror movies have to somehow, on some level, stay grounded. In order for them to really scare us, they have to be grounded on some level. So I'll give one of the most fantastical examples, one that will seem like this is not grounded at all: Alien. So there is a certain grounding in Alien, the fact that you have like these blue collar workers in space They're like truck drivers in space, right? Usually when you have people in ships and it's the future, you have scientists and whatever, but these are just like working stiffs, right? Well, what is the grounding of Alien? It's what fears it plays to. It's not enough to give like killer aliens with acid blood. It's what fears are they hitting? And the alien is hitting our fear of sexual assault. The alien's head is a giant phallus, and the face huggers are vaginas. And normally, having a giant vagina plastered on some people's face would not be a nightmare, but in this case, you're being face raped and you're being impregnated. And on at least a subconscious level, that is playing to those fears of sexual assault, and then being forced to carry the rape baby to term. Can I say rape? I guess I could say grape, but I've already said rape. But the grape baby to term. So what does this have to do with Rubber, and why do I think Rubber is such a great movie in regards of these observations, is that Rubber, it comes down to what Quentin Dupieux said in an interview when he was asked about why it happens. Because someone asked him, why did this tire come to life? The tire has a name too. I can't remember the tire's name, but it's okay. I mean, no, it doesn't matter. The tire doesn't speak. But why does the tire come to life? And his answer was, things happen in movies. There's no explanation. There's no reason. I mean, you get some personality of this tire. You actually do. But one day the tire's just sitting there and it comes alive. And it has telekinetic powers. Yeah, that's the thing where you can move the kinetic. Yeah, like kinetic. It's telekinetic powers. No explanation, because things happen in movies. And that's really what makes the thing absurd, is that there's no explanation. I mean, you could say, well, the real absurdity is the fact that it's a killer tire. But if we go through horror movies, the idea of a killer tire is probably on the list of absurd things that kill people in movies. It's not even that high on the list. The absurdity is grounded in the fact that there's no explanation. It's just a thing that happens. But the additional absurdity of the movie is the fact that the movie knows it's a movie. The people in the movie know it's a movie. It's commenting on itself. Now, meta commentary in movies is nothing new. A New Nightmare, the Wes Craven sequel after Freddy's Dead, I think that's what it was. It was a meta commentary. And then Wes Craven took this to another level when he did Scream. So self-aware horror movies is nothing new, but Rubber takes it to the next step, where actually having an audience in the movie, observing the movie, commenting on the movie. So the movie knows it's a movie and even questions, why are these things happening? And even the events, the things that happen to the audience, they make no sense. It's very Kafka, which by me mentioning Kafka, I already sound kind of like I know I sound like I'm smelling my own farts saying that, which I don't know, maybe my farts smell, I don't know. Anyway, yeah, that sounds, I'm mentioning Kafka because I read. I got to mention Kafka. You know what? I'm also going to mention Nabokov, Invitation to a Beheading, because Invitation to a Beheading is very much like Nabokov's The Trial. I think, anyway. I read those books like 20 years ago, and honestly, I don't really remember them that well. But I did read them, so I'm smart like that. Rubber's good.